Hi, there are moments that the result of something I'm doing provides me an opportunity to have an event where either during the day or at night, some unusual experience occurs. My most of my life, I've had unusual experiences. What I would call unusual, though I think they're actually more common than people are willing to admit. So last night I had an unusual event. And I know this is for some people just a little too much to comprehend or believe, but I'll go ahead and tell you anyway because it felt really significant. There is a place between being asleep and dreaming, there is a place in between that which is commonly called the sleep state. The sleep state is a place where our souls go at night when they go to sleep. Then, sometimes on the way back into the body, which can be a coming and going process, we'll have normal dreams and we have all kinds of dreams. But a sleep state experience is not a dream, it's the opportunity to be awake while out of the body and in the spirit world. Now, I've done my best to access it more often, even though it's not an easy thing to control it or be engaged in it. It's not an easy thing to say, hey, I'm going to go to the sleep state and find yourself there. I've done it dozens of times and gotten nowhere, but then periodically it happens. And it happened for me last night. And I had a rather remarkable event about the nature of what I call 5 and 5. And that's a Rayid language for girl number 5 and boy number 5 and their association to the throat. So for me, in the Rayid terms, the head is 6, 6 girl, 6 boy. The throat is 5 and 5. The shoulders and the heart are basically 4. Solar plexus is 3, 2, and 1. And yes, this has to do with a chakra system and the dynamic exchange that happens between the spirit body and the physical body. There's an exchange that occurs. So when I'm in the sleep state, I'm actually in my spirit body, but most of the time we're unaware of being there. Now, in that place, it's possible to have a more lucid experience of one's own soul. And that's basically what I went through last night, was having an experience of experiencing what 5 and 5 really are doing. And by that, I mean, I also correspond these different locations to different parts of the world. By that, I mean, we have a global experience. For me, number 5 is what I call global. And then we have country, we have community, we have family, we have self. 6 being a larger unit of spiritual content to many other souls. 5 is more what's going on the earth with this group of people on the earth. What I saw in the middle of all this is I got pretty much a download. And by the way, I can't remember 5% of it. It was downloaded very clear during the moment, but it's not completely clear when I come back. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. This time, the volume of information about what does it mean to be, what does it mean by significance? Well, for me, the global friends group is an actual group created on a global level and has within it its own community on a global level. So, what I saw was the extraordinary opportunity that I have, other people in the group have, to be able to actually raise their own condition up to what's called sphere number 5, which is very different than the lower levels of being contained within your own mind, your own suffering, your own pain. And on the level 5, I could have an outbound relationship for the purpose of giving to other people without thinking about what I'm going to get out of it. This was a empathetic, a sympathetic relationship where they could be felt. And I'm saying sympathetic because it's like a tuning fork. I could have a resonant experience with these other people and the opportunity to use that resonance to be able to experience more in my own body eventually. But in that moment, the outbound experience was compassionate, affectionate, caring, tender, and giving. Wow, I realized that how often do I actually give of myself to other people on a global basis to want to support their existence, their families, their communities, their countries, their health? How often am I really like that? Wow, not very often. Am I actually willing to feel every other soul on earth? Do I actually have any affinity or caring for all the other people, regardless of their location or their gender or their culture or their race or their religion? And basically the answer is no. I don't do that very often. I don't really care much about them. I've been there, do that, would like to theoretically feel, but the magnitude of life that's available on that level, where we are a unified global earth. Could you imagine what it would be like if people were actually engaged in the basic principle of do unto others as you would have them do unto you? Could you imagine what an earth we would live on if we even aspired to greater harmony, caring, tenderness, education, sharing, healing, all as a group? Wow. So I got a glimpse of what would be possible if the human being actually was engaged in global harmony. What would that feel like? And it was more than I could bear. The reality was I couldn't handle it. I could not contain it. The next part was 5 boy. Well, the 5 boy element is the exacting individuality of me living my own authentic soul through an expression of free will. Now, am I actually willing to be 100% in integrity with my free will, transparently, to communicate my unique soul as it was originally designed on a soul level? Am I willing to live my soul in actuality, transparently, in the world? Well, the answer is no. I would aspire to do that, but am I capable of being able to do that? No, I'm afraid of criticism and ridicule and cynicism and disappointment, failure. I'm afraid. But I do realize that if I'm going to take my place in the global phenomenon, that means to me, I need to be willing to be actually who I am. I may not even know who I actually am because I've not yet moved sufficiently toward it to be it. But in order to be part of a global five, that would mean everybody in that global five would be their authentic self. So, what would it be like if the earth had everybody living in their authentic self simultaneously? It would be an indescribable Garden of Eden paradise of creativity, of art, beauty, wonder, math, invention. There would be no poverty, there would be no pain, there would be potentially not even death. Because if we're actually living the spirit world, the spirit reality in body on the earth, lots of very good things could happen. Yes, many of us aspire to do that one day. We aspire with our faith and our religion, our culture, and we want our family to be happy. We want them to all be together, and we want to do that. But are we actually willing to do that for every man, woman, and child on earth? In the same way we would do that for our own children? Boy, what a difference that would be. What I also saw is taking my five, the girl, the global, and my five, boy, the individuality, and rotating them just slightly. There's some unusual way that if I acknowledge my globalness as a soul, and I acknowledge my individuality as a soul, and I move them around each other slowly, what I saw was something similar to an equinox. Why an equinox? An equal flow from myself to them and from them to me. An equality function. And I could see how the cycles and seasons, they're basically teaching us how to live. Winter teaches us something about God's intelligent design. Spring teaches something. Summer and the autumn, they teach us a sequence of how things move. Well, it was pretty easy to see if I want to be my authentic self, then I need to have the personal responsibility to deal with the parts of me that need to change. How do I do that? Humility, the sincere desire to grow, truth, open-heartedness, authenticness, and the capacity to be able to receive. So if I'm willing to do that, I can contribute something truly valuable to the generations of my family tree, not just in the future, but also in the past. I know that sounds odd. Can we actually affect our ancestors? And the answer for me is yes. If I'm going to be authentically me, involved in a group dynamic spectrum, and I'm willing to do that, I can actually use the forces of nature that are aligned during an equinox, where all of the energy on the earth is equal, and then in that moment, move these energies around and begin to equilibrate inside me these polarities, not just 5 and 5, but at the heart, 4 and 4, at the solar plexus, 3 and 3, and 2 and 2, and 1 and 1, and yes, 6 and 6. Can I actually desire to want to bring myself through an intentional effort into alignment with divine order by using my sacred gift called free will? Yes. I believe it's possible. way I can explain to you everything that went on last night. I'm barely able to comprehend it. But I do want to be transparent about my experience. Now, I'll tell you, I have an agenda about that transparency because I know if I'm willing to experiment and be transparent with that, more will come. More will come, and I can continue. But if I just have an experience and I shut it down and I don't share it, it's not likely to continue to circulate. I enjoyed that experience. I enjoy the other odd experiences I have. Not easy to explain, so I'm willing to share with you this information and suggest to you that some things are possible. But it's up to you to decide, is it logical? Does it make sense? Do I have questions about it? Is it worth experimenting? Is it worth trying something that is kind of at times outside the box? Well, that's up to you to decide. I know I'm going to keep doing it myself, but I feel the only way to really do that is to give it willingly, give it freely, give it without expectation of return, not trying to sell it to people, not try to gain something from them out of it, but just give it openly and freely. If they choose to give something back, that's their choice. It's not my expectation. So that's my experience from last night. A lot to chew on, but I can assure you there's probably going to be some more to arrive because these are really cool times we're in. There's amazing things happening on this earth, and I can barely sense the magnitude of things that are happening and are coming. So I want to just share this part with you. And when another one comes, yes, I'll probably share that one too. Be well.